will turn on the recording and the share screen button. Okay, just a second. Something happened here. Okay, so let's start. Good. As you know, today we're going to discuss the topic of IELTS Writing Task 2, and this is already lesson number 5. So, and this is the last lesson of this course. Later, I will tell you what we'll be doing for the next Saturdays. As you know, every Saturday we have a free lesson. By the way, can you turn off your audios, everyone, because it's echoing right now? Yeah, much better now, I guess. Okay, so every Saturday, you are going to be given the choice, the chance of taking part in a free IELTS course. But, and every time we will discuss something new that will be useful for you in order to use these techniques and the strategies and the structures that I'm offering you so that to improve your IELTS skills and to be able to get better and to be able to take the test and succeed. But on other days, like on Mondays or other days, we'll be having the other courses which are not free, they are paid, and I would like to discuss one of them. So this is going to be the whole IELTS test, IELTS course. It will take place not this Monday. I have decided to move it to the next Monday because the group is not full yet. So we have already 2 people registered who confirmed. So in the group, there are 3 up to maximum 7 people. So, and if you're interested, you can register for that. So here you can see below the link to the Facebook event that you can go to, and you can click on going and confirm your participation. And if you do so, if you share the information about this event, so you will get a very good gift. It is a kind of a book. So it's a 10-page PPT, PowerPoint presentation, which will give you the opportunity to improve your vocabulary, learning, vocabulary memorization, and also it will give you some tips for fluent reading, how to do, what to do, so that to make your reading more fluent. So this is the information about the gift that you can give when you share the information about this IELTS event, the paid event, with your friends on some social sites like Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever. So do you have any questions about this part? No questions? Okay, so let's see. What have we done in this course? We had already 4 lessons. This is the 5th. What have we done up to now? So during the first lesson, we spoke about IELTS speaking, the 3 tasks that you can be given. Lesson 2 was about listening. Lesson 3 was about reading. Lesson 4, the previous lesson, was about task 1, writing. We discussed both academic and general task 1 writing, which were quite different from each other, as you remember. And today we're going to talk about writing task 2. Let's speak about the aim, whether we have achieved our aim or not. Our aim was to provide, my aim was to provide the absolute essentials, the fundamentals of all these things: speaking, listening, reading, and writing task 1. And today we'll do task 2 so that you can use all the skills and go further. In order to go further, you have 2 ways. First, slowly, by yourself. It will take a long time, and you can do it by yourself without anyone's help. But again, you will need someone who will give you some feedback. And quickly, with my help or with another teacher's help who knows a lot about IELTS and who is experienced IELTS professional. And however, both options, both slow and quick options, they both require further work. You have to work, you have to study, you have to practice. It's not a magic, it's not a miracle. You have to make an effort and work hard in order to get it. And what will happen to this course? I mean, all these 5 courses that you have already had. And please turn off your audios because it's making some noise and distracting. If you don't have questions, just turn it off. So what will happen to this course, the whole course? I mean, all the PowerPoint presentations that I shared with you and all the videos, so they are yours. You can use them, you can I mean, watch them, read them whenever you want, they're yours. And you can also use this information to remember what we were discussing during all these lessons, and use also these 4 websites you see on the screen: IDP, British Council, IELTS.org, and Cambridge English, in order to do some practice exercises, which will help you to improve your results if you later analyze your mistakes and you work on your mistakes, try to understand them and try to not to make them again. Okay, so just practice. You remember, just practice is not going to help. Practice with feedback, analyzing, learning, understanding your mistakes, and then trying to perfect yourself will help a lot. What will we do in this lesson? What is writing task 2? You will find out about it. And why most of the people fail it, and how can you overcome those problems so that not to fail. And we'll be discussing the strategy and also structure for any question, both general test and also academic. And also, I will show you how to take all these things to the next level. Okay. So writing task 2 IELTS is about an essay. You're going to write an essay. So the requirements are for this task are 250 words, and you have to complete this task in 40 minutes. Okay, you are given only 40 minutes. So it is the area that I get the most questions about. Like people ask me a lot of questions about, okay, how to write an essay in a right way, what to pay attention to, what the requirements are, and so on. And it is the area that causes the most stress for many students, really. So it's really stressful for most of the students. However, you should know that it is worth a two-third of your overall writing mark. Okay, so 1/3 is writing task 1, 2/3 is already writing task 2. That is why it's really important, and you have to be careful and really approach this question, I mean, writing this essay really seriously. For most people, writing is the thing that is holding them back. And that is just all the time they are failing in writing. And why it's happening, it's really natural, because let's say when you're doing some all the time you're listening to something in English, right? It can be music, it can be news in English, BBC, CNN, whatever, or you can just watch some interesting video in English. Yeah, so you're improving your listening skills in this case. Or you are reading something. It can be about your profession, like if you're a network professional, or if you're an IT specialist or whatever. So you're reading a lot of information, and you're doing it all in English. Speaking is not a lot. I mean, the practice of speaking is not a lot in general, but again, speaking is much better for students than writing, because writing, where do we write English? Almost nowhere. So you don't have any practice in writing. That is why the least scores that you get and the worst skills that you have from English is the writing skills. Okay, so this is the explanation, simple one. Okay, talking about task 2, writing task 2. So you can get different kinds of questions, and there are 6 types. So the first one is about opinion. It will ask you about, what do you think? What's your opinion about this or that? So discussion, like giving some question and asking you to discuss this question. Third is advantages and disadvantages. You are given some situation and you have to explain what you think are the advantages and disadvantages of the situation. Problem, cause, and solution kind of a question, and also double question. It means you are given 2 different questions. And unusual questions, you never guess what kind of question you can be given. So, but it can be the nearly 5% possibility totally that you can be asked some unusual type of questions. So why is the average score 5.5 from task 2? Task 2 is really very complicated, and it has lots of explanations why people don't pass this successfully. First of all, is lack of effective practice. I'm not saying that you're not practicing. I'm saying that you are not practicing effectively. Okay, so we'll go deeper into it later. Misunderstanding of what the examiner wants. Okay, so some people say that, okay, I think that I have to write lots of sentences with very complex grammar structures so that I get a higher score, or lots of complicated vocabulary and things like this. No, neither of them. So we'll go deeper into it and we'll find out what it wants. In general, you are given the requirements of what you have to pay attention to when you are doing, when you are writing task 2. Okay, so the requirements are written in British Council website, and marking criteria. If you Google and find it in the British Council website, you can see the marking criteria, and we'll discuss it later today. So next one is vocabulary first approach. It means that most of the people say that, well, I have to write lots of complex vocabulary for band 9 or something like that. No, it's not like that. So grammar first, people think that a lot of complicated grammar structures should be used, but it's not like that. Again, we'll discuss it. Very poor teaching. It's about poor teaching, like the teacher who's teaching doesn't know what he's teaching, and is not, whatever he's teaching is not based on the requirements of the IELTS examiner. Okay, they don't teach what the examiner wants. And all of what so anything else that they teach that is not aimed to meet the requirements of the examiner is just a waste of time. Be aware, okay? And the last one, not doing the most important thing. Okay, let's go further and go deeper into each point. A lack of effective practice. It is no surprise that most people do quite well in reading and listening, I told you, because we do it every day. But people also seem to be able to get their speaking up to the required level quite easily. But the most difficult thing is the writing part, because we don't practice it at all, and the students usually can fail the writing part 3 times, 5 times, even 15 times. They can fail. They can pass the exam, try to take the exam and fail. Okay, so this is the skill that we practice the least. That is why it's so difficult. However, simply writing answers after answers will not help either. Remember, I will not help either. Just remember Johnny from the previous lesson. You remember I was discussing my friend Johnny, who was practicing driving in the fields when he was a child, starting from 11 years old till he was 18. And when he just took the test, he failed. But he said, but I have so much experience in driving. But it wasn't experience, it was just driving and driving, but he didn't have any instructor who would say, okay, you are doing this correctly and you're not doing this correctly. There was no feedback on his driving, okay? He was just a self-educated driver. And that is why he was making lots of mistakes, and that is why he was failing all the time. So practicing a lot doesn't mean that you will pass the exam, okay? Practicing effectively will help you, okay? So it means you have to get some feedback from people, either your teacher or someone who knows a lot about IELTS, so that it will help you to become better and better, okay? So again, you will be writing, just a second. Yeah, you will be writing an essay which will have minimum 250 words. So it can be more than 250, but not less. If you have less than 250 words in your essay, then you are in trouble. Okay, so you will lose points here. Don't do that. Minimum 250. You can write more, but no less, okay? And it will take you 40 minutes. Try not to spend much more than 40, okay? So let's see the practice. So how it happens, you practice, you write the practice test, then you get a feedback from your teacher, from someone who is knowledgeable, who has a lot of experience in IELTS teaching and knows what the examiner's requirements are. Okay, so you have to get feedback, it's necessary. And then you have to work on understanding this feedback, okay? Try to understand what the feedback says about your mistakes. And then take action. I mean, try to correct your mistakes, try to work on not making them one again. And then as a result, you can improve. And then you go the same circle. Practice, feedback, understand, take action, and improve. Okay, so all these things you do until you become perfect and you get, let's say, 7 or 7 plus, but 7 or 7 plus. What is the solution? Practice using real questions. I told you about those 4 reliable websites. You can go to those 4 reliable websites, find the practice tests and practice. Get feedback. I said already, take time to understand, take actions or improve your weak areas, okay? Sorry. And move on to a new weak area until you are ready for the test, until you get 7 band or plus from the practice test, okay? So problem 2, misunderstanding of what the examiner wants. So, so ask students how to get a high score on the IELTS writing test. And you will hear hundreds of different answers. They would say, I have to use lots of words of advanced level. I have to use lots of grammar structures and things like this. And no, it's not like that. Okay, so you have to use good vocabulary, but you have to use this vocabulary accurately. You have to use maybe not so many complex grammar structures, but you have to use them accurately by answering the question, okay? And developing your answers, of course. Most of those suggestions will actually, so those people who say that you have to use very complex vocabulary, they will just lower your score, not make it higher, okay? Luckily for IELTS, actually, for the requirements, you can find out in the official website, like going to British Council website, and here you can find the official markings and criteria. where you can find all the information, what you have to pay attention to, what you have to do in order to get band 7 or higher. Okay, so I wrote here that you have to look at IELTS official marking criteria, and I put here the link. Later, when you have this PowerPoint presentation, you can use it, and you can go to this website, this page exactly, and you can see from the official source what the requirements are and what the examiner is waiting from you when you're doing this task, writing task 2. There are 4 criteria in general. They are task achievement, like if you answered the question or not, coherence and cohesion. It means whether it's understandable and whether you have constructed your speech, written speech in the right way. Lexical resources is the same vocabulary. Okay, you have to pay attention to the right, whether you use the right vocabulary is not necessarily high-level vocabulary. So for band 7, the requirements for vocabulary and grammar is not that high that you think. Okay, it can be simple, but it can be correct, accurate vocabulary and accurate use of grammar. And the last one is a grammar range and accuracy. Accuracy is the most important thing here. And each of the criteria gives you 25% of your score. Okay, so you have to try to meet all these criteria while you're doing this task. It is essential that you actually understand what they mean, each criteria. Okay, don't misinterpret. Task achievement, let's go deeper into each. Did you understand the question? You have to read the task carefully and try to understand it completely. And did you, the second one, did you answer the question? Okay, so the next one, did you fully develop your main idea? Okay, so it's also important that you answer the question completely and develop it. Okay. Coherence and cohesion. It's about, do you know how to construct the building blocks of an essay? So we're not going deeper into this today, but it has a special construction, okay, blocks. Like intro part, the main body paragraphs, there are 2 or 3 paragraphs, and then conclusion part. And next one is your position clear? I mean, is your thought clear to the reader? So you have to think about the reader when you're writing. Okay, so the reader cannot phone you and say, hello, Ali, can you tell me what you mean by saying this or that? No, it doesn't. He's not going to do so. So be sure that you can give the information in a way so that the reader doesn't have any questions. Okay, just a second, a person is trying to join. Yeah. Okay. And okay, so it should be understandable and it should be organized in a way so that it's really clear to the reader. Okay. Next, a lexical resource is the same vocabulary. Do you have a wide enough range of vocabulary to express what you're trying to say about the topic? So it's not about very complex words. It's about the necessary range of words for expressing your opinion about the question that you're given. Okay, so you have to be able, with this range of vocabulary that you have, to be able to answer the question directly and to be able to develop your thought, okay, your view. And you have to do it in an accurate way, okay? So you have to be sure whether this word expresses the right meaning in this context or not, okay? So you have to be careful about the accuracy of the vocabulary, not about the complexity, okay? It's not about the complexity, it's about the accuracy, okay? So the if you're using some complex words, but they don't make sense, and the reader is trying to understand what you want to say, so you are in trouble. You're not going to have to get the scores, okay? So because the reader doesn't understand what you want to say. It should be clear. So grammatical range and accuracy. Do you have enough grammar range to express meaning? Again, it's not about complexity. It's not necessary to use, let's say, future perfect continuous. Okay, maybe future simple will be enough. Or it's not necessary to use all the time first, second, third conditional. Okay, or past perfect continuous, or future in the past, or something like that. Okay, so very complex grammar structure is not very important. Again, like in the case of grammar, of vocabulary, in the case of grammar also, it's more important whether you can use the grammar accurately or not in order to express yourself and to answer directly to the question you are given. Okay, not to beat over the bush, but go straight to the point. Okay, it should be straightforward somehow. Okay, your speech should be, written speech should be straightforward, direct. So there are some solutions to the problems, and we'll address all of these issues in the rest of the lesson, but the main point should already be very clear to you. If you have a teacher or you are getting advice from someone that you think they know what they are talking about, but do not actually know what they are doing, you are in a big trouble. This is what I was saying, okay? Be sure that this teacher of IELTS is giving you the information that is answering to the examiner's requirements. And the examiner's requirements you can find in the official website, and you have to be able to understand all these requirements correctly, to not misinterpret. Everything your teacher does should be based on what the examiners want. Okay, it's important to remember. Problem number 3 is vocabulary first approach. What is it about? So ask a group of examiners what they think about it, and they say a lot of things about vocabulary. They say that using a complex vocabulary is really necessary and things like this, but most of them, they don't know what they're talking about. If you're using complex vocabulary, but you are not answering the question, or you are misleading the reader, the examiner, and he doesn't understand, he's confused, so you're on the wrong way, okay, and you're going to fail in this case. So use simple words, or the range of vocabulary that is necessary in order to express yourself clearly, so that the reader doesn't have any questions after reading your